Have your attention. I'd like to make sure that your seatbelts are fastened.
You know that feeling? You're looking for some new earbuds, maybe those fancy Apple ones, but wow, that price tag. It makes you pause, right?
Oh, absolutely. We've all been there.
So this time on the deep dive, we're tackling something lots of you have asked about. Can you get that really high quality audio, that premium feel, without shelling out the big bucks?
Exactly. And we're focusing specifically on renewed Apple AirPods Pro wireless earbuds. It came up because, well, you've shown a lot of interest in smart tech that, actually delivers good value.
Right. So to figure this out, what are we looking at today?
Okay, so we've got two main things. First, the actual Amazon product page for these renewed AirPods Pro, the place you might actually go to buy them.
The real deal listing, got it.
And then really importantly, we have an expert review of the standard brand new AirPods Pro. This gives us a baseline, something to compare against.
Okay, so the idea is to blend these two perspectives.
Yeah.
What the seller is promising versus what the experts found with a new pair.
Precisely. We want to synthesize all that info to give you a clear picture of what you're really getting into if you buy renewed.
Makes sense. So our mission today is basically to lay out the good, the bad, maybe the slightly iffy about buying renewed AirPods Pro.
That's it. We'll look at performance, what condition you should expect, and the big one, is it actually good value?
So by the end, you listening should feel pretty confident about whether clicking buy on those renewed ones is a smart move for you. Okay, let's get into it. First things first. What exactly does renewed mean when we see it on Amazon?
Right. So Amazon Renewed basically means the product, in this case the AirPods Pro, has been looked over, tested, and maybe fixed up a bit by sellers that Amazon qualifies.
Okay.
The key thing here, though, is that they are not certified by Apple. It's Amazon suppliers doing the work, not Apple themselves.
Ah, okay. So it's not quite the same as getting something directly refurbished by the manufacturer. That's a pretty important distinction.
It really is. It could impact things like quality control down the line.
Now, the listing mentions different cosmetic conditions. Can you break those down?
Sure. Amazon usually has categories like premium, excellent, good, acceptable. For the specific AirPods Pro we looked at, the options were excellent condition for about $120.
Okay.
And good condition for around $105.
So presumably excellent looks almost new, while good might have like minor scratches or something, but they should work the same.
That's the promise, yes.
Yeah.
Functionally identical, just potentially some minor cosmetic differences reflecting that price gap.
And what comes in the box? Is it just the earbuds?
No, the listing says you get accessories equivalent to new ones. Now, they might not be the original Apple ones, but they promise they'll be compatible and work properly.
All right, so a working charger, maybe different ear tips.
Exactly. And the packaging will either be the original box, if it's still decent, or just a new clean box. So it's the whole package, essentially.
That's good. What about guarantees? If you get them and they, don't work.
Well, there's the standard Amazon protection. Every renewed purchase is covered by their usual return policy and the A to Z guarantee.
Right.
But the seller for these specific listings, top-notch tech, actually offers their own 90-day refund or replacement policy.
Oh, 90 days. That's pretty decent. Gives you some real time to test them out.
Yeah, it definitely provides a bit more peace of mind than a standard, say, 30-day window.
And thinking bigger picture, there's an environmental angle here too, isn't there?
Absolutely. Choosing renewed tech helps extend the product's life, keeps it out of landfill longer. It's, a more sustainable choice, which is always a plus.
Definitely something to consider. Okay, so that's the renewed part sorted. Let's talk about the AirPods Pro themselves. Based on that expert review of the standard model, what's the design and comfort like?
Well, they've got that classic stemmed look, obviously, but the review mentions some subtle tweaks to make them fit better, more ergonomically.
And they're light, right? I remember reading that.
Very light, about 4.3 grams per bud. The review really stresses that this makes them comfortable even if you're wearing them for, hours at a time.
Okay, comfort's key. And the case.
Standard charging case. Pretty small, easy to slip into a pocket, practical.
And what about durability? Can you take them to the gym?
Yeah, the review notes the IP54 rating. That means they're resistant to dust and splashes of water, so sweat during a workout shouldn't be an issue.
Good. So comfortable, pretty tough. How do they actually sound? This is where the standard model really shines, apparently.
Oh yeah. The expert review raves about the audio quality, largely thanks to Apple's H2 chip inside.
The H2 chip, right. What does that translate to sound-wise?
You're looking at richer bass, not muddy, but definitely more present, really clear mids, so vocals and instruments sound great, and more detail up in the high frequencies. The review describes it as really well balanced overall. Good for pretty much any music genre.
Sounds impressive. And there's that spatial audio thing too.
Yes. Personalized spatial audio with dynamic head tracking. The review makes a big deal of this. It basically creates this 3D sound bubble around you that changes as you move your head.
Oh, cool. So it feels more immersive.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially for movies and games, it really pulls you in, makes the sound feel like it's happening around you, not just in your ears.
Okay, I can see the appeal there. Now, another big feature for premium earbuds, noise cancellation. How effective is the ANC on the standard Pros?
The review says it's very effective at cutting down ambient noise.
Yeah.
Traffic, office chatter, that kind of thing. Great for focusing.
But maybe not total silence compared to some other types.
Possibly not quite as isolating as some deep in-ear models just because of the physical design.
Yeah.
They don't create a perfect seal in the same way. But still, very good ANC performance overall.
And then there's the opposite, right? Letting sound in.
Exactly. Transparency mode. The review highlights this as well. It uses the microphones to let you hear your surroundings clearly without taking the buds out.
Super useful for like ordering coffee or hearing announcements.
Or just general awareness if you're walking around outside. It's a really practical feature.
Definitely. Okay, sound and noise control seem like strong points for the standard model. Let's talk about a potential weak spot for refurbished stuff. Battery life. What's the baseline from the review? And what are the renewed customers saying?
So the expert review for the new standard AirPods Pro states up to 5 hours of listening on one charge. Probably a bit less if you have ANC on all the time.
Okay, 5 hours. And the case?
The case bumps that up to around 30 hours total listening time for the standard non-ANC version. If you're using ANC a lot, expect maybe closer to 4 hours per charge, and the case gives you about 20 hours total.
Still pretty decent numbers, and they charge quickly.
Yep, 5 minutes in the case gives you about an hour of playback, and they use USB-C now, which is convenient.
Okay, that's the ideal scenario with a brand new pair. But, and this feels like a big but, what are the Amazon reviews saying about the renewed ones?
Yeah, this is where things get concerning. The customer reviews on that Amazon listing paint a very different picture for the renewed version.
Oh boy, how bad is it?
Well, there are many complaints specifically about battery life. People saying they die super quickly.
Like, how quickly?
Some mention maybe an hour, maybe less. Others say they just won't charge properly, like they get stuck at 10% or something. Even reports of the case not charging the buds correctly.
Wow. Okay, that's a huge red flag. A massive difference from the 4 or 5 hours expected.
It really is. It seems to be one of the most common complaints, and it fundamentally undermines the point of wireless earbuds if they don't hold a charge. It's a major risk factor with these renewed ones, it seems.
Definitely. If the battery's shot, the savings don't mean much. What about other core functions like connecting to your phone and the smart features? That H2 chip handles that too, right?
Yes. In the standard model, the H2 chip means Bluetooth 5.3 for a stable connection, plus that really smooth pairing and device switching if you're in the Apple ecosystem.
Like switching automatically between your iPhone and iPad.
Exactly. Plus features like voice isolation for clearer calls, hands-free Siri, all that good stuff relies on the chip working properly.
So theoretically, a renewed pair should do all that too. But judging by the battery feedback, are there connectivity issues reported as well?
Unfortunately, yes. Again, looking at those customer reviews, some users report problems here too. Things like frequent disconnects, buds dropping connection, or even just difficulty getting them to pair in the first place.
So unreliable connection on top of potentially poor battery, not a great combination.
Not at all. A stable connection is absolutely fundamental. And there was another worrying point raised in one review, wasn't there? Something about privacy.
Ah, yes, that's right. Tell us about that.
One reviewer mentioned that when they got their renewed AirPods, the previous owner's Find My tracking was still active on them.
Seriously? Wow. That's not good. A pretty big privacy oversight.
It really is. It highlights that you need to be absolutely sure any pre-owned device has been properly wiped and reset before you start using it.
Yeah.
A definite risk to be aware of.
A very important reminder. Okay, so beyond the tech specs and potential flaws, what's the general user experience like? First, based on the standard review, and then the renewed feedback.
The standard review paints a picture of seamless integration, especially if you use other Apple devices. Automatic switching, easy controls on the stems. It's designed to be intuitive.
Makes sense. And the renewed users, is it just as smooth sailing or more mixed reports?
You guessed it, more mixed reports. It's inconsistent again. Some people say they're comfortable, fit well, feel great, stay put, echoing the positives of the standard design.
Right.
But others report problems. Touch controls not working reliably or not working at all. One person even said the included ear tips didn't fit properly, which impacts comfort and sound isolation.
So even comfort isn't guaranteed depending on the specific unit and accessories you happen to get.
It seems that way.
Yeah.
The experience appears highly variable. Okay, we've covered performance, potential problems. Let's bring it back to the main question, value. The Amazon listing shows those lower prices, $120 or $105, compared to a typical price. Does that make them a good deal?
Well, on paper, yes. Compared to the price of brand new AirPods Pro, which is often significantly higher than even that typical price listed, $105 or $120 looks like a substantial saving. You get access to those premium features for less money.
But it sounds like that value is heavily conditional on actually getting a good working pair.
Exactly. That's the crux of it. You read the reviews, and some people are thrilled, calling them bonkers value, great for the price if they work.
Right, the lucky ones.
But then you have a significant number calling them awful, a waste of money, even overpriced because they were defective or had major issues like the battery problems we discussed.
So the reliability seems all over the place.
Highly unpredictable based on that feedback. So the value proposition is murky. It feels like a gamble. You might save money, or you might end up with a headache in a product that doesn't work properly. A gamble indeed. Now, to potentially offset that risk, the listing mentions protection plans. What are the options there?
Yeah, Amazon offers plans through Azurion. You can get like a 2-year or 3-year plan specifically for headphones.
Okay.
They also push a broader Complete Protect plan, which is a monthly subscription covering basically all eligible stuff you buy on Amazon. Though it seems the monthly option for just one item like headphones might have been removed, so you'd likely be looking at the 2 or 3 year fixed terms.
And what do these plans actually cover? Damage, breakdowns?
They generally cover accidental damage drops, spills, broken bits, and also breakdowns, malfunctions. Plus, you get 24/7 support and supposedly easy claims process. Often, if they can't fix or replace it, you might get an Amazon gift card for what you paid.
So given the reported issues with these renewed AirPods, adding a protection plan might be a sensible move, even though it adds to the cost.
It definitely seems worth considering. It adds a safety net, some extra security against getting a dud unit, essentially. You just have to factor that extra cost into the overall value calculation.
Right. And what if you don't get a plan, but they arrive faulty? What about returns?
Well, the listing highlights easy returns, usually with a free shipping option. And crucially, that seller, Top-Notch Tech, explicitly offers a 90-day refund or replacement window for both the excellent and good conditions.
Okay, so that 90-day policy from the seller is key. That's your main recourse if they're not working right out of the box or fail soon after.
Exactly. It gives you a reasonable time frame to identify any major problems without needing to rely on a separate protection plan immediately.
Okay, let's try and wrap this up. We've covered a lot of ground. What are the absolute key takeaways for someone thinking about buying these renewed AirPods Pro?
Well, the upside is clear. Potentially significant cost savings compared to new, getting those desirable features like ANC, spatial audio, the Apple ecosystem integration, and the sustainability angle.
But the downsides?
But the downsides, based heavily on user reviews, are substantial and seem quite common. Major concerns around battery life, potentially very short, connectivity issues like dropouts, and general functionality problems like controls not working. The quality just seems really inconsistent.
So it really is that trade-off we talked about, a chance at a bargain versus a real risk of getting a faulty product.
Precisely. It's not a guaranteed win. That's why understanding that 90-day return policy from the seller is vital, and why considering an additional protection plan might make sense for some people. They offer some mitigation for that risk.
Right. So here's the final thought for you to chew on. Is that potential saving, maybe $50, maybe $100 or more compared to new, worth dealing with the reported unreliability and potential hassle? Or does the peace of mind you get from buying a brand new, guaranteed to work product outweigh that discount?
Yeah, that's the question you need to answer for yourself based on your budget and how much risk you're comfortable taking. We definitely recommend going to that Amazon page, reading through the reviews yourself, the good and the bad, now that you have this context.
Hopefully this deep dive has given you the tools and info you need to make that choice wisely.